What's up, y'all? It's your girl Shay Renee, and we are on the late night creep again. And this time we are talking about Sistas season 6. I don't know the title of the episode, just read the title. But y'all, this episode, why they ain't started off with the whole situation with Karen at the daggone salon where it burnt the heck up? Why they prolonging this? Typical Tyler Perry. But as we always do, let's get into it, shall we?
Can't ball in a life, man. Go on with it, go on with it. Do us. So we are coming with a force. Yeah. Blessings we are reaping, we coursing on.
All right, y'all. So in this episode, we are starting off with Danny and Child. What is the girl's name? Lord, I am drawing a damn blank. Y'all just bear with me. Andy, Lord have mercy. It's late at night, y'all. I just came from teaching my step class and getting my life together. But moving on, we have Danny and Andy in the car together, and they're talking. Andy is taking Danny home. Obviously, Danny had one too many drinks, and she cannot drive herself home. So they're in the car talking, and Andy is pretty much telling her she got to stop doing all this foolishness. She need to figure out what she gonna do. And then Danny gives it right back to her, telling her, well, what you gonna do with old large peen over there? And she's like, I'm going to leave him. You know I'm gonna leave him, right? I'm like, girl, you are not leaving him. Like, what? I don't understand Andy with this whole situation with homeboy. Like, girl, you gotta let it go. You have got to let it go. It's just getting ridiculous at this point. It's like, how much more does he have to do with you to you? It's getting ridiculous. Also, I'm really upset that this episode didn't start off with Karen in that daggone hair salon, because that's where it ended. Typically, the episode starts with what it ended with. But now we got Andy and Danny in the car and talking about daggone Gary. Why? I want to know what happened to Karen. And my thing is, let's talk about this, y'all. How did Karen's salon burn up? Don't everywhere got sprinklers? Why we ain't think of that? I'm looking at sprinklers in my living room right now. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. 5 sprinklers sitting right over top of me. So why didn't the sprinklers come on immediately when all those flames came about in the hair salon? And then why was Karen walking towards the flames? Why she didn't pull the pin out of the daggone fire extinguisher? So many things that are so wrong and so silly with this episode. Also, why didn't she just run out of the door? She was right there by the door. And you could see the flames when you came into place. Call 911. So many things that don't make any sense. They're saying that in season 7, they're supposed to get some writers for Sistas. I hope they do, because if they don't, this show is going to tank worse than it already is. Okay. So y'all, we got Danny and Andy in the car chit-chatting. Andy even turns up the music at some point because she don't want to hear what Danny got to say. But Danny is just kind of eluding the whole Preston question. At this point, I don't know what Preston and Danny are even doing. Danny keeps on pushing him away. He keeps on trying to push himself on her. It's just not working. It's not working. It's not working for me. Moving on. Danny gets, in the next scene, we see Danny back at her apartment, because I feel like that scene with Annie and Danny was way too long anyway. They could have sped up a lot of these scenes so they can get on to the Karen situation and stop wasting our time. Y'all, we literally have been in the same time period, like the same 3 days for 2.5 seasons. I'm getting a little restless. I'm just saying. So if it comes out in the review, I apologize in advance. Okay? Because my frustration is there, clearly. Moving on. So then we have Danny back at her house and she's going to the fridge. She walks in, she was like, "Oh, thank God they're gone." I'm like, "Danny, you knew they were gone. They were just at the bar. Your friends, they're gone. They were at the bar with you. So why are you saying, thank God they're gone? You knew they wasn't going to be at your house waiting on you because Andy was taking you home." Moving on. She goes into the fridge to get a drink, okay? She's drinking her drink. She turns around and there goes old crazy man there talking about, "Oh, you thought you were going to get away with this." This is the guy, I don't even remember his daggone name because he wasn't on here that long either. But he was one of her rendezvous that beat her up real bad. And she tried to run into him and thought she offed him. And that was that. So he's there to finish the job because he's pissed off that she almost tried to off him. So they get to rumbling in the apartment and whatnot. They're fighting. Preston pulls up because he told Danny that he was going to come to her place when he met with Mindy. It was Danny and Mindy at the bar, and he said he was going to come over after he dropped Mindy off at the hotel. So Preston comes to the door and he hears some noise in the apartment. So he assumes that Danny is in there getting her freak on. Okay. But she's not getting her freak on at this point. She getting tumbled with. Okay. So he goes outside, licking his wounds, feeling sorry for himself. Like, "I can't believe she got a man in there. I'm sick. I can't do this no more." Yes, you can, because he took his little tail right back on up in there. And thank the Lord that he did, because he came in there and him and Danny jumping homeboy. Okay. So they're fighting. He's pulling this man off of Danny. Danny feels like really, really upset. She's like, "How did this man?" I'm like, "Girl, how do these people keep on getting in your daggone apartment? You got to stop bringing all these people back to your house." The number one rule when you're dating and you're a single girl, don't let these men know where you live. Girl, get it together. So they're rumbling and then he ends up passing out at some point. So then that was the end of that. Okay. So in the next scene, Andy goes home and here go Gary, spread eagle, ready to bust it wide open. And Andy always gonna bring her ass back. Okay. He got flowers all over him like he in the middle of a Coming to America scene. And the royal penis is clean. He laying out, sprawled out. I'm like, "Gary, did you think this was romantic? You know you a man, right? This ain't attractive." Okay, but moving on, he's like, "Hey, what took you so long?" She's like, "Oh, well, I don't think that we should be doing this. I'm just tired of you trying to control me all the time, blah, blah, blah." And she tells him he need to go and sleep in the other room because she don't like basically what he's been doing with trying to buy up her job, do this and do that, to do little treacherous stuff to take over her job so that he can control her. And she's like, "What are you going to do? Like, buy your way into everything that I'm doing or get rid of every man that's around me because of your jealousy?" He's like, "No." He was like, "You already ruined the deal anyway because you told him." She's like, "Gary, this is my job. Like, you keep on playing around with my career. I don't got time for that." So my thing is, Andy, Gary can't do anything that you're not allowing him to do. You need to leave this man alone because at the end of the day, after as if he didn't do enough to you before that, the man done squeezed your ribs. His ex-wife came in trying to pow you. It's too much. Why do you keep on dealing with him? Mind you, have Andy ever met Gary's children? Y'all forget Gary got kids. Where your kids at, Gary? Because we ain't seen. One of them has autism, I believe. So I'm like, one has special needs. You ain't tending to your children. You doing all of this to win Andy over, buying penthouses and Bentleys and stuff. Again, Andy, why didn't you ask Gary for the money to get your friends out of jail? He's so rich, right? He keeps on trying to use his money to buy you, right? Those should have been the things that he was using his money to get back in your good graces for, not trying to buy up your job and get rid of your boss. Because you ain't really checking for Robin like that anyway, because you so digmatized by Gary and his schlong as big as a baby's arm, according to Danny. Okay? So she plays these little games with him like she always does. And he's like, okay, we're just going to cuddle. Let's just cuddle. She's like, no. She was like, oh, that sounds good. But you can just go to the other room. You can go in the guest room. He's like, really? Are you serious? I'm like, Gary, just get your on up out of here. Like, I'm sick and tired of Gary. Tyler, you got to learn how to fire people. Okay. There are some of these characters on this show that have taken their course. It's time to get rid of them. It's time to have the stories evolve. Nobody, I refuse to believe that there are women out here as dumb as Andy. Andy is so hardworking and power posing in her suits. Now, the girl got some badass suits. I got to tell you that. But she power posing in her suits every day at work, child, but looking like a weakling behind the scenes with this man. I'm getting tired of it. Seriously. Okay, we got to go ahead and let Gary go. It's Gary has taken its course. So moving on, we get back to the scene with Danny and Preston. Okay, Preston is like, Danny, I'm gonna stay here tonight because I don't trust anything with this man. Like, I want to make sure that you're safe. She was like, no, I'm fine. You don't have to stay here. I'm like, Danny, girl, who knows who else will just pop up in your damn apartment? Airport security man may come back next. Child, we ain't seen him since he locked up daggone Maurice and Sabrina. Where he at? He might pop up next. You need security in your apartment at this point because you done let too many men up in here. And Lord knows Fuego might come and give you a dance in the middle of the night too. And it might not be the type of dance that you're looking for. All right. So, child, let that man stay there and look out for you. So he's like, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to go and, get Mindy home. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to stay with you just to make sure you're okay. And she's doing this whole, I don't need a man. Da, 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 da. I'm like, Tyler Perry is trying to make Black women look like we're so strong that we don't need anybody. And that's not how we act. What he doesn't understand, which he would understand if he had some female writers that were Black on his writers team, which he don't have nobody, he would realize that we are strong in situations where we have to be because we don't have anybody to protect us. We are the most disrespected element in this world, okay? Period. We got people trying to take over our womanhood and call us sis and not with the SIS. So it's so many people out here disrespecting us, not protecting us, not doing for us, but we don't show it in this way. And I think he's got it all misconstrued and all jacked up. Danny, in a normal situation, if this was real writing, she would have been like, thank you. I appreciate you staying here with me. I've made some mistakes by letting people come around me that don't really appreciate me the way that they should. And that would have been that. No woman that has a brain in her head is going to tell a man that she semi-trusts, because let's face it, she trusts Preston. She wouldn't tell him to leave, especially after this whole debacle that just happened. So Preston ends up staying on the couch, child. And Danny lays in her bed, being a fool, moving on. So then we have Sabrina and then Calvin. Calvin comes over Sabrina's house to tell her everything that has happened the night before with Maurice and got into the whole situation with Q. And he actually SHOT, because you can't say that word in these videos, child. He actually banged Q. Okay. So Sabrina is like, oh my God, why would he do that? Like, old boy done paid for his bail or whatever. I don't need him to be doing some stuff like this. And Calvin was like, yeah, I told him not to do it. She's like, oh, okay. She was like, oh my God, well, is he alive? Is Q alive? Calvin's like, well, he's in the hospital. So Maurice pops up and he sits down in between them, being his old flamboyant self, okay? And he's acting like he don't have a care in the world. Like, oh, hey, what y'all doing? And I'm like, Maurice, really? So he's like, Sabrina is addressing the fact. She was like, why would you get yourself in the middle of this? Like, Bio paid for your bail. Like, you can't be doing this. He's like, girl, I don't care. Like, he had my stuff. I wanted to get my stuff back type of situation. I ain't tripping off of him. Okay. Maurice is very ridiculous. Like, I don't like how Tyler Perry is writing Maurice to just be so uncaring about the people that are trying to be resourceful and help him around him. It's like he just don't give a damn. He like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. Yeah, I made a mistake by letting this man live in my apartment. I made a mistake by letting the relationship go further than it needed to be. And Sabrina and Calvin addressed that. Sabrina was like, this is all your fault. You allowed him to stay in your apartment. You went on you went on having a relationship with him and you shouldn't have. Like, this is all your fault. So Maurice proceeds to say, girl, I'm gonna need you to get our jobs back. What you doing to get our jobs back? I'm like, you're not even paying attention to anything that she's saying. Y'all now have a record because of you. And he's like, did you call corporate? She's like, yes, we're suspended. Like, we're not getting our jobs back. So he's like, dang, well, what are we going to do? What the heck do you think you're going to do, Maurice? Go do Uber with the car that you were so pressed to get back from Q. How about that? Instead of you calling the police and reporting your car stolen like a normal person would, you go up there and try to play hero and Peter Pan and get the daggone car back yourself and see what that done got you into. You one day out of the pen, acting like a daggone fool. Unbelievable. And Calvin, you are just useless because you're the one that felt all sorry for Q, talking about, well, we can't just have him outside. Why would you even let Q live with you? After he was in there diving for peanut butter in a booty hole in your room and stealing your supposedly stealing your checks, then you're gonna let him stay in your apartment? That don't make no sense. All of y'all are delusional. I can't, and I absolutely won't. Okay. Moving on. Cause y'all, a lot of these scenes was way too much longer than they should have been. So then we have Fatima and Zach with this very quick scene between the two of them. First of all, Fatima's outfit banging, okay, absolutely banging. All right, so they're standing there talking. Of course, Zach again has made a whole spread of food for Fatima that she cannot eat. I'm like, girl, why this man always cooking for you and you don't want to eat? If you think he trying to poison you or something, I don't know what's going on here. Because Zach stay making her breakfast before she about to go out on a run or before she about to go to work, and she always too late to eat it. I need you to get up earlier, Fatima. Or Zach, you need to wake her up earlier so she can eat your breakfast. But moving on, she can't eat the breakfast, and then they get to talking about Zach's kid. Okay. So he's saying that he wants to go over and visit his child more. He wants to see what's going on with his kid and what type of environment he's living in and basically how they raising the kid. So she's like, you know what? I think you should do that. I think that's going to be a good thing. So they talk about that. This is interesting because Zach and Fatima have what seems to be a good relationship in Sistas, but they actually have what really broken up on Zatima. So it's difficult that the stories are not aligning to where the story can continue properly on Sistas, if that makes sense. So Fatima leaves for work and Zach calls Heather on the phone. So Heather is in her robe talking to him on the phone. She just, of course she's night dancer. Okay. Dancer for money, do what you want me to do. Okay. So she just got off the pole in that home trying to get a little sleep and shut eye. So Zach calls her and he's like, okay, so what you doing? I want to come over. What time can I come over and see my son? She's like, well, I'm getting ready to go to sleep. He's like, well, it's 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, what are you talking about? You about to go to sleep? She was like, I just got off work. And so basically he finds out that she basically has their son fending for himself throughout the day while she's taking a nap till the wee hours of the afternoon. And Zach is like, that's not okay. That's not appropriate. He's like 3 or 4 years old, and you basically making him parent himself while you sleeping all day. Who's watching him? So she's like, he all right. He used to doing it. He got the toys and the iPad or something, she said. She was like, well, you can come get him whenever you want when that money hit. You empty head. Why would I give you money if you're not even watching my kid? Why don't I just come and get him myself and raise him? He'll get all the money then because clearly you're not raising him properly. And from what we see in these next scenes, apparently you got your boyfriend in there doing God knows what with the little boy, and Zach and Fatima find the kid outside by himself. So, girl, what? So they end up coordinating a time where he can come over and he's going to come and visit their son. So, child, it's clear that Heather is just all about the coins and not about being a good parent at this point. And I don't even know what took her so long to wait this long to go and find out where Zach was so that, he could be a part of this child's life. It's like she waited until she had a inkling that he had some money to come looking for him. Moving on. We get back to Preston and Danny. Okay, Danny has to get up for work, and Preston is like, go ahead and get ready for work, and then reiterates the fact that he's going to go and make sure that Mindy gets home and he's going to come back and stay with her. She's like, yeah, again, she's like, you don't have to do that, blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, Danny, I do. He got out on bail. So he told her that the dude is actually out on bail. So he doesn't want to leave her alone and for him to come back and perhaps try to attack her again. Okay. So she's like, whatever. And so she gets in the shower and, they move on from that. So in the next scene, Gary calls Hayden. Okay. Hayden is, telling Gary that he in here with the chick and all this, that, and the third. And they talking about their little scheme where it comes to Robin. And Gary is asking Hayden, did he vet homegirl? Because he's like, are you sure? Because you seem to be a little blind in relationships. I'm like, Gary, I know you're not talking. You don't need to give nobody no relationship advice whatsoever. But Hayden is an idiot. And I know that he did not vet this girl. All he been doing is vetting her vagina. Okay. So he's like, no, trust me, I vetted her. It's good. But okay, I'll take care of it. I'll do it. Blah, blah, blah. So he ends up getting off the phone with Hayden. Then Andy comes in the room and Gary is like, you know what? I thought about the things that you talked about, like we talked about last night, and I get it. She's like, oh, so you get it from my perspective? And he's like, yeah, I get it. And she's like, do you really? And so then he moves on to being chauvinistic again, trying to force his way into walking her outside to her car. And she's like, I can go to my car by myself. Just make sure you get the hell up on out of here. So he's forcing his way to walk her to her car, being controlling again. And she's just like, you are just never going to learn. Whatever. Okay, come on, walk me to my car, child. So I'm like, again, this ring around the rosy stuff with Andy and Gary is just really getting old. Girl, sell this penthouse, or actually don't sell it because it's in your name. He was dumb enough to buy it. So what? Tell him to kick rocks and move on because you do not have to deal with him. But if it's going to be too much pain for pleasure, live of the pleasure of living in that penthouse, buy the penthouse from him. Like, give him his money back for it. And tell him to leave you the hell alone. This whole back and forth between the two of them is entirely too much because Gary doesn't get it. He's never going to get it. He controlled his ex-wife. Matter of fact, what happened to the ex-wife? Because once we saw her fall off the balcony, didn't she come back after the balcony with the hand, with the pow pow? And then what happened to her after that? Child, it's too much. It's too much. You can get rid of characters like that, Tyler Perry, but you can't get rid of daggone Gary. Okay, moving on. Y'all, so in the next scene, we get to, hold on, y'all, I'm scrolling through. We get back to Calvin, Maurice, and Calvin, Maurice, and Sabrina. They're still at Sabrina's apartment. Okay. Sabrina has made breakfast for them and they're basically talking about their next steps. Calvin ends up leaving and they just give each other, Sabrina and Calvin give each other a little hug and he walks out and Maurice is like, oh, no kiss. And Sabrina is like, Maurice, hush. So they're talking about what their next steps are going to be. Maurice is still asking her about them getting their jobs back. She's telling Maurice that he needs to get his act together and make sure that he doesn't do anything as far as going to see Q, because he keeps on talking about what he gonna do to Q and this, that, and the third. And she's like, Maurice, leave him alone. Do not interact with this man whatsoever. But Maurice has his own agenda. But in the meantime, he's eating her food and he's like, I didn't know you could cook. I'm like, why is this even a part of this? Why did we need this extra scene? Y'all talked enough when y'all was sitting on the couch. This didn't have, we could have just got rid of this whole scene and went right on to Karen at the hair salon. But anyway, y'all, let's move on. All right, so in the next scene, we have the decoy chick, which I don't know. Y'all tell me what her name is in the comments, because I'm starting to forget some of these characters' names because we just adding people and nobody makes any sense at this point. Um, Homegirl, the decoy that Fatima has planted for Hayden. Okay. Her and Hayden have the most awkward sexual scene that I've ever seen in my life, where he looks so awkward, like he's an 18-year-old boy having his first time standing in front of her. And she's just like, oh, you're going to work, I'm going to go out and look for work today, and I'll be up there because you're going to look at my application, right? Because she trying to work at the firm. And he's like, yeah, you know it. He's like, oh, well, you don't really have to go to work, blah blah blah. I'm like, this unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay. And I don't trust sis, because Fatima told her not to apply for a job at the law firm, but she ended up doing it anyway, talking about she want to get this money and all this, that, and the third. So I feel like she's going to do something stupid, and Madam is going to come and knock her head off. That's what's going to end up happening. But child, who knows, y'all? Who knows? Fatima is going to get the girl because she's not going by the rules. Demetria Glenn says Fatima is going to get that girl because she's not going by the rules. Yeah, I can see that. Y'all tell me what her name is, because I'm talking about her. I don't even remember her damn name. But anyway, Hayden walks out of the room. And so she immediately calls Fatima to tell her about her whole situation with him. Mind you, Hayden ain't but 2 seconds out the room. And you sitting up here talking about him to Fatima. So she's like telling him, girl, I got him in the palm of my hands. He's going to do this for me and that for me. I'm going to get all his money. And she's like, well, we need to talk about payment. So how am I going to get paid for this? And Fatima is like, what you mean payment? Like, isn't he giving you money? Isn't he buying you gifts? Isn't he doing all that? She's like, yeah, that's your payment. What are you talking about? And she's like, my cousin told you what you need to do. Basically telling her, yeah, when my cousin tell you to do something, your life is your gift. So don't play. Okay. So she's like, but what am I? She was like, that's not what I thought this was. She's like, and Fatima was like, yeah, you don't want to play with me because I will have a conversation with my cousin and then you really gonna know what's up. So, child, I don't know. So they get off the phone and she's like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna do what I want to do at this point. I don't trust homegirl, but it is what it is. I don't know why Fatima thought for any reason that this chick was going to have any type of Tamra. That's her name. Okay. Tamra. Demetrius Glenn says, I don't know her name. That is so funny. That makes me think about Mariah Carey. Sorry to this man. Or Kiki. Sorry to this man. I don't know him. But Tamra, thank you so much, Cherry Elliott. Her name is Tamra. So Tamra is a little treacherous. Tamra is going to do whatever she needs to do to get her coins. She's going to get a job. She going to run through Hayden's bank accounts. And in the process, I just hope she don't out Fatima for all the stuff that she's doing in an effort to get more money out of Hayden. And she may, who knows, she may join up and team up with him to go against Fatima, so that she can get even more money for herself. And then she gonna end up getting her head knocked off by daggone Madam. So homegirl better make the best decisions for herself. So moving on, in the next scene, we got Pam riding in the car listening to her gangsta lean music. And we have the preacher man, Aaron, calling her, basically looking for Karen, because that's all he do all day is search for Karen. So she's like, if she not answering her phone, then why you calling me and how you get my number? I'm like, girl, just tell him you don't know where she at. She's like, I don't know. I haven't talked to her. And if she not answering your phone, then that must mean that she don't want to talk to you. So, and then she tells Aaron to lose her number because yes, she is Karen's assistant, but her cell phone ain't a part of the game. So as she's pulling up to the salon, Aaron's like, okay, Pam, whatever. Pam must see that the salon is in disarray. And she says, oh my God, the salon. And Aaron is like, Pam, because it's right before they hang up the phone. And Aaron is like, Pam, what happened? What happened? And that's where the episode ends. Tyler Perry, you better not start this next episode with some other stuff. Get this salon scene over with and hurry up and tell us whether she's still pregnant or not and who this baby daddy is, because I'm sick and tired of this. Okay? Very sick and tired of this. But y'all, let's get into some of these comments because I just want to know if y'all are in as much of an uproar as I am. What's up, Shan? My girl Shan is in the building. How you bees? Y'all, I appreciate y'all being on here with me so late at night. KJ says exactly. Pretty Brown Eye says, man, why isn't Karen showing? Right. She been pregnant for how many months now? Now I know she a little on the thinner side, and sometimes that you don't really pop out until maybe about the 5th or 6th month when you that thin. But I be daggone. It's been long enough. Pretty Brown Eye says exactly. TP dragging it on and on. Right. I'm sick of that. Like it's really hard to enjoy the show when he does that. Abyss Day Winning says, I love that name, by the way. I think I said that last time. That's what I thought. I wanted to see what was happening with Karen. Right. Why wouldn't you start the episode off with that? That's what you ended with. Keep the story in sequential order, sir. Knock it off. All the men on this show are somewhat abusive in one way or another. Yeah, absolutely. Because Aaron is a stalker. Gary is controlling. Uh, daggone Preston is a little stalkerish too, and he's very needy. It's like if the woman don't, he's a good dude, but if the woman don't want you, she don't want you. Calvin confuses all get up and trying to make Sabrina like what he like. Bio trying to buy her. It's just a lot. It's a whole lot. Um, it's it's that unrealistic Tyler Perry writing, right? It makes absolutely no sense, the stuff that he's writing, because in the first place those curlers should have had automatic shut off, so none of this really should have happened in the first place. It's ridiculous. She just laid down. She did though. Pretty Brown Eyes, she definitely just laid on down on the ground, and she like walking towards the flames. I'm like, girl, are you kidding me? This is just so unrealistic. Not to mention, she was going into the flames calling for Pam. She knew Pam wasn't there. Right. Pam was at home getting her back blown out. So she was not there. So I don't understand why she ran into the salon yelling Pam's name. Pam was not there. It's like Tyler Perry forgets what he just wrote. It's crazy to me. She knew Pam wasn't there. Just talked to Pam and she was at home, right? Wasting our time. Yeah, girl, our sweet time. I just don't understand. Queen T says, hey y'all, what's up, Queen T? Um, I'm surprised you're still reviewing it. Child, you and me both. You know what? It's kind of one of those guilty pleasures. And now that I have more of y'all kind of diving into the guilty pleasure with me, at least I can have y'all to air out my grievances. I'm trying to support Tyler Perry because he's a successful black man. And I love DeVal Ellis and I love me some Crystal Renee Hazlett. So I want to see them still get the consistent work. So that's why I watch it. But my loyalty to them doesn't surpass my anguish for ignorance, if that makes any sense. So I don't know. I'm gonna wait till season 7. I'm gonna give season 7 3 episodes in to see if these new writers are effective, and if it's not, I'm gonna have to can this guilty pleasure. Since you are not the only one who is frustrated with this series, I'm just somewhat invested, so I continue to watch. Yikes! See, we on the same page. We on the same page, sis. We see each other. Okay. Queen T says, "Did you see she didn't have any groceries?" Yeah, I'm like, Danny, your fridge is barren, girl. Maybe that's why she always going out with these men so they can take her ass out for dinner. Ooh, y'all, they went up my nose. So yeah, I'm like, you going out to dinner with all these guys. You're a single woman in Atlanta, Georgia, working at the airport, right? I can imagine that you can afford groceries. Like, you can go to Aldi's and get some groceries for a good little coin. I don't understand that. So Danny is just giving me very much so irresponsible. And then I would even think that she would be smart enough to go to all her friends' house, get the dairy products from Andy, get the meat products from Andy, get some out of her fridge, get some dairy from Sabrina. Well, Sabrina looked like an almond milk girl. I don't know. And then get something out of Karen's house. Then you'll have a whole plethora of groceries. Like, she just strikes me as that type of girl that is just a leech like that. You know what I mean? Like, she always asking them to go out to eat with her so that they can pay for it. Um, it surprises me that Danny went to college as well, but she is super poor living in the studio, a raggedy studio at that. Yeah, well, I don't know. Her apartment ain't that daggone raggedy, child. I do like the little Chinese screen that she got put up, but it's really like, you know what it is? A bitch say winning. It's more like it's giving college dorm vibes. That's what it's giving me. Like, I feel like Danny is stuck in that college mindset. Like, she hasn't grown up yet. She is a grown woman that has responsibilities, nevertheless, but she still has that childish mentality. Like, she needs to grow up all the way around. Queen T, she never has any groceries. She don't never have no groceries. Now, she has some alcohol up in there. And wasn't Preston buying her groceries? It's only been 3 days, child. Child. So wait a minute. If she ain't had no groceries, how did Preston make her breakfast? That's what I want to know. Did he leave out and go get her some breakfast? Child, or did you get the Uber Eats, Preston? I, listen, I'm confused. Danny never has any money. I know she never has any groceries. Listen, y'all over here giving it to Danny. So how the hell Preston gonna say he fixed breakfast? Bingo. I'm like, did he forget they showed in her fridge there was nothing to cook, right? Yo, we all done figured out. We done cracked the G code with the breakfast, okay? It wasn't no damn food in there. And breakfast ain't frozen. She ain't going to freezer. But eggs and bacon is not in the freezer. It's in the fridge. And unless you called the Uber Eats or you ran out and made a quick grocery store run while sis was asleep, I don't understand. It wasn't no food in there. I'm over these fake scenarios. You and me both, Queen T. I'm so tired of Gary at this point. I can't understand him being on the show. Me either. I feel like Tyler Perry is attached to some of these characters. And it's just really time to let some of them go. Like, I think Gary's story has run its course. Hayden, after we finish all of this stuff, I mean, we really don't need him and Tamra. Like, let that go. It's time to introduce some more people. Let's explore more of this Robin situation. Let's explore more of, I know you have Zatima, so you don't want to make it more about Zach and Fatima, but it's like they're really the only ones that's making this show rather interesting. So explore bits and pieces of their life that can translate over to Zatima, because on Zatima, I feel like that's a show where we can expand upon their families, their individual families, right? Bring in, you know, you keep on alluding to Sabrina's mother and how she's going to be upset if she finds out. Bring her mother on the show, figure out what's going on, finalize this whole situation with Karen and this baby stuff with Aaron. Like, let's go ahead and move along with these daggone stories. Queen T says Gary and Andy, yeah, a mess. Gary should have been gone in season 2. Absolutely. Okay. I like Andy with Robin. Shan. Yes, Shan. I actually like Andy with Robin too. Robin got his little kinky quirks too, because he liked to do a little stuff, freaky deaky stuff where he want to be having other people in the room and things. I feel like he may turn into a person that could tend to be a little controlling too with his, because of his money, and especially since he just paid for her friends to get out of the pen. I don't know, but I want to explore that. Let's explore what could happen with Robin because we already know what Gary is giving. Queen T says, me too. Andy ain't never met Gary's kids. That's the first red flag, slapping her upside the head. Exactly. Gary hasn't seen his kids. It seemed like he haven't, okay? Because I ain't heard him even talk about his children. Tyler not firing them. He's not done playing with him behind the scenes. Child. Mm. Because word on the curb is Mr. Tyler Perry likes to do some little casting couch, but that you ain't heard that from me, okay? Allegedly, TP ain't having that. The men, yes, like Maurice is getting frustrating to me too. Yeah, I just feel like Maurice is just getting he's too attitudinal for me. Like he's giving off. He's doing too much. Like you got all these people rallying around you to support you, and all you do is give them the way that you show your appreciation is by calling them a bitch and and spitting in their face. It's crazy to me. Somebody leveraged $1.5 million to get you out of jail. Mind you, he did it for somebody that he only went on 2 dates with. And he's so enamored by Sabrina that you're gonna give up $1.5 million for her friend. That's a lot. And then for you to go and be doing some irresponsible stuff like Pow Pow and Q. Now, if Q, that's another character that need to go on and get on. It's too much. Let it go. Let it burn, Tyler. That character don't need to be here no more. You should have let him going on with that. That scene. He should have gone to glory. But I digress. So yeah, Maurice is just very ungrateful. I need them to explore his background story because apparently his family doesn't accept his sexuality. So let's dive into that. I think Maurice's character can be developed where he's actually intertwined with the sisters. I really do believe that. But Tyler Perry is not doing a good job of developing his character. Yes, he has some snappy, little quirky, little funny things that he says here and there, but it's just like it's getting old with his foolishness. I don't like Maurice always calling the women bitten. I don't care if he still disrespects them terribly. Absolutely. And I think that Tyler, in my head, I feel like Tyler Perry thinks that that's how gay men talk to women. And that's not true. They're not disrespectful like that. Now, sometimes with you have your good Judy friend where y'all have that type of relationship, right? But he does that with everybody, and you have to establish a certain level of rapport. Like I don't even call my friends the B word off the random. I don't. So that again, you have to establish a certain level of rapport with somebody where you have to see if they're comfortable with that. And everybody is not comfortable with that. Queen T says exactly. It's gotten old with Maurice acting that way. Okay, we are very disrespected. Period. Okay, period. All black women, we are the most disrespected morsel of human in this on this earth, and I'm getting sick and tired of it. By the way. But the men on the show are very disrespectful in as well. Yeah, yeah. All of them got they problems. Most men have the black woman misunderstood. I agree. Shouldn't they take Maurice Bond and lock him back up? Yeah, it's like, but you know what? If they view the camera footage in reality, it is going to show that it was a squabble and Q stole his car. He should have just gave him the keys back. Q drew the armed equipment, y'all. We can't say certain words to the pow pow towards Maurice. So Maurice, it would be seen as self-defense overall. Danny both Maurice and Danny both irresponsible. Yes, Maurice is a fool. Calvin is such a weak man, child. Well, all right. Y'all see Pam, what she done did to herself? What she do to herself? What, Pam in real life, she done did something to herself? Child, I wouldn't be surprised. All these women out here getting all this stuff done to themselves for these crazy men. Thank you, our Heb. What's up? What's up? Thank you so much for coming into the chat. Didn't she go to jail? You know what she did, I think, because they locked her up. I think they locked her up when she pow powed Gary. So yeah, she might. But so if that's in that case, where are the children? Do you got a 24-hour nanny, Gary? Because if their mama is in the pen, who is watching the kids? Again, the story is unsolved. It's an unsolved mystery. Queen T says she probably gonna turn her back on Fatima. Yeah, I think so too. Fatima's gonna get that girl because she's not going by the rules. I don't know her. Okay, I think we talked about that earlier. Let me skip down to the down. Shan says, I don't know, Shay. If Aaron don't work out, I'm gone. You can't have all them men but Zach be the wrong one. It ain't at least one man out here for the sisters. Right. Like somebody gotta be the right guy. Everybody can't be trifling. You get what I'm saying? Like it's getting old. Aaron seems like a good guy. And Karen just keeps on shitting on him, basically. And she just needs to stop. She needs to, it's like she's trying to find something wrong with him. And he's shown her nothing but loyalty. Now, did they start crazy? Yes. But it's just like, girl, let it burn, let it go, move on, stop trying to do all of this stuff to be in Zach's good graces, and he clearly doesn't want you anymore. But I've heard that Tyler Perry done wrote this season where Karen and Zach gonna end up kissing or something. They trying to reignite their relationship, which I think is so dumb, but I hope that's wrong from what I read in some blog. But we'll see, child. She keeps sausage available. What? Who keeping the sausage available, pretty brown eyes? Miss B says, sis, I'm on a phone call right now, but scrolled and saw you live. You know I'm going to get my sisters clicking like anyway. Yes, y'all, Miss B has a YouTube channel as well. She just posted her first show. Okay, I am going to put it on my community wall, and I want y'all to watch it and give her some support. She is absolutely hilarious, and she has some very, very beautiful, intelligent Black women that are on a panel with her, and they're talking about everyday topics. So please, y'all, go and support her. I'm going to link it on my community wall tomorrow so that you guys can watch. Jay Hayes says, ladies in the chat should be part of TP's continuity department. How do we become part of that? Because I would love to do that. I need to give him some advice because this here, he doesn't. And you know what the thing is? People have been telling Tyler Perry via Twitter, Facebook, all these things. He doesn't accept constructive criticism at all. At all. He don't want to hear nothing that we have to say. Who said that? Who said that? Says, hello, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. We hope you are doing well too. Love, love, love the name. You know, I love, child, I love me some Portia. She's a guilty pleasure. But after seeing that Portia Family Matters, child, I had to give sis a side eye. I had to give her a side eye, okay? And she thinks she's slick. She out here trying to let the stuff die down about how she got with that damn Esther Roll, aka her husband. But child, we'll see if she come back to the housewives. But I digress. Danny keeps sausage for breakfast. No, the type of sausage that she keeps around don't go in her refrigerator, if you catch my drift. But homegirl don't never have no damn food. Pretty brown eyes. Shan says, girl, if Zach and Karen get back together, I'm fine. That's never gonna work. And what Zarya gonna do, what Zarya gonna do then? That has to be gossip. I hope it is gossip because I really don't want to see them two together. They don't work well. Karen doesn't respect him. And she's just like Zach needs stability, and that's what he gets with Fatima. We already y'all if y'all watch Zatima, you'll meet his mother, and you'll see why Karen's actions really they should never have been together. Pam looked different. She may be on those. Oh, I get what you're saying. Okay, she's skinnier. You know what? Her face does look very slim. People better stop taking that stuff because I heard immediately once you stop taking it, if you don't do what it takes, because a lot of people don't want to exercise. So they don't want to do the things to maintain it. So they just feel like they're going to be on that stuff for the rest of their life. You gotta find another way. You got to find another way. But hell, the people that's doing it, they look damn good, child. I'm gone, not fine. LOL. I get what you're saying. Miss B says, thank you, sis. Yes, absolutely. What is the team going to do? So Zatima is, that's the other show, right? You watch Zatima, Shan? Because that's the other show where, so on the other show, they talked about in the past season where they introduced the mother, they introduced the brother, they showed where the mother and brother were living, and the mother and brother are basically trying to hoodwink Zach out of money. And they've been both playing little games with him, basically doing stuff to get money from him. So in the last episode, the mother apparently got beat up by some people or whatever, and robbed or whatever the case may be. So she trying to hoodwink Zach, and Fatima had just left. I think she was on the way out, or she had just left the house, and because they were breaking up. So, child, I don't know. Shan says, I'm saying if Karen and Zach get back together, how's the team? Right. That's what I'm saying. So it just you okay, I get what you're saying now. Yeah, it's the show isn't going to work because ultimately you have to have they're going to end up being together in some sort of way, because it doesn't make any sense to have a separate show for those two if they're not going to be in a relationship. It's just too much. Queen T says, good night, y'all. Hopefully Wednesday will be a little better. I hope so too. Shan says, I stopped. Good night, Queen T. Shan says, I stopped watching it when it didn't align with Sistas. I get confused. Yeah, I'm hoping that because last season I feel like it did somewhat align. But this season, I don't know. But y'all, I'm about to join Queen T and take my little rump to bed, because I be on these lives at 1 o'clock in the daggone morning, like I ain't got to get up at 6:30 and take my tail to work. But y'all, thank y'all so much for joining me in my guilty pleasure with this crazy daggone show. But we riding it out for the rest of the season, y'all. And I told y'all I'm gonna stick it out for the first 3 episodes of season 7, just to see if these writers is in there and doing something. So until the next time, thank y'all for watching. Please, please, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anybody else that's suffering through this foolishness with us too. And I will see you in the next video. Peace out.